Do I need to stay in on the YouTube page or can I log out?
Just close that page, Prabhu. That's it.
What?
You have to just close that YouTube page itself, Prabhu.
Yeah, that's what.
Thanks.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Manojavam Marutatuल्य Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayutha Mukhyam Shri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmajah Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. We are in chapter 20 of Sundara Kanda. And this chapter is significant because Ravana is speaking to Sita Devi. And for us, it is the allurement that the mind offers the conditioned soul. And so we're going to hear the ways in which the mind allures the living entity. Obviously, when I'm reading this, I'm thinking how I'm allured, and each one of us should hear it accordingly, that how each one of us is allured by the mind. And so this is how the chapter begins. Yeah. Satam parivratam deenam niranandam tapasvinim sakarair madhurair vakyair nyadarshayata Ravana. Literally, that Ravana talked to her, that is Sita Devi, in very significant and very pleasing words. And the adjectives used for Sita Devi are Deenam. Deena means almost helpless. Niranandam. She is devoid of any joy. Tapasvinim. She was in a state of penance or asceticism. And Parivratam. She was surrounded by Rakshasis. We know the word Avratam. Avrata means covered. Parivratam means surrounded. Now, the interesting thing is, in this shloka, Valmiki does not address Sita Devi directly and doesn't say about Ravana as he. It's the other way. He refers to Sita Devi as she, Satam, but gives Ravana his name, Ravanaha. Why? The idea is, if you're watching, let's say, a movie called Ramayana, And her whole attention has been on Sita Devi, her condition. And now that Ravana is speaking, Valmiki wants us to take our attention to Ravana. So he refers to Sita in third person and Ravana as second person. Satam Parivratam. He did not say Sitam Parivratam Dinam. Satam Parivratam. And how did Ravana speak? Sakarair, with lot of significance, lot of importance, lot of emphasis. Madhurair, with a lot of sweetness. Vakyair, using words or speech that is important, significant, emphatic, but very, very sweetly. Nidarshataha means addressed or spoke. Ravana. The mind is an organ or a tool that speaks to us very sweetly, and that's the allurement. One who speaks to us harshly, we're repelled by, or we're not attracted. But the mind has a very sweet way of alluring us, and that's what it is that we are attracted by. So what does Ravana say to Sita? Mam drashtva nagasoru guhamanastanodaram adarshanam ivatmanam bhayan etum tvamichasi. Oh, looks like you don't want to speak to me. It looks like you don't want to talk to me. That's why you're covering your belly and chest away from me. And look at your thighs. They are as elegant like the trunk of an elephant. And you want to cover yourself away from me out of fear. And almost like you want to disappear. You don't want to be noticed by me. However, Kamaye Tvam Vishalakshi Bahumanasva Mam Priye Sarvanga Gunasampanne Sarvaloka Manohare. Oh, Sita, Kamaye, I desire you intensely. Tvam Vishalakshi, one with big, big eyes. Bahumanyasva, please acquiesce, please allow, please accept my proposal. Priye, oh darling. I mean, the arrogance and the atrocity, the audacity with which he is referring to her as Priye. She is not his Priye. She is Ramachandra's Priye. But he has already decided that she is his consort. So he says, Priye, Bahumannasya Priye, accept, just give me the respect that I'm asking you. Respect means come and embrace me and accept my proposal. Sarva Anga Guna Sampanne, your body, every limb of your body is so beautiful. Sarva Loka Manohare, you can enchant the entire world. Now, what is the understanding here? Ravana has traversed the entire world, and any woman that he thought was beautiful, he completely kidnapped her and brought her to Lanka. So he has searched the entire universe, and every beautiful woman he has brought. He has either raped or some way molested or captured and brought her. Now, Sarva Loka Manohare means I have not seen someone as beautiful as you in the entire universe. And then he says, Neha Kechin Manushya va Rakshasah Kamarupinaha Vyapasarpatu te site bhayam matta samuttitam. Vyapasarpatu, just cast away bhayam. Remove all your fear about me, Sita. Because here in Lanka, na iha kechit manushya va rakshasaha kamarupinaha. There is absolutely no human being or no rakshasa who can change their form according to their desire that can protect you. There is nobody in this world who can protect us from our own mind unless we ourselves take that responsibility. Then Sita might be wondering, hey, you brought me here. That is adharmic. So Ravana tells Sita, it is adharma for you, human being, to consort with someone else. But it is not adharma for Rakshasas. It is our dharma, in fact, to grab any woman that we want. Swadharmo rakshasam bhiru sarvathaiva na samshayaha. There is no doubt I am acting according to my nature. I'm acting according to my dharma. Gamanam va parastrinam haranam samprathayava. So according to Rakshasa dharma, gamanam va, we can walk along, we can sport with someone else's wife, parastrinam. Haranam samprathaya, we can also by any means, haranam, we can kidnap them. So I'm acting according to my dharma. So don't blame me. And then he says, evam cha etad kamam na tvam samprayakshami maithili kamam kamah sharire me yatha kamam praratvam. Sita, please understand that I can do whatever I like. And whatever desire arises in my body, I can fulfill it. That is who I am. But yatha akamam praratam. He says, but it looks like you have no desire for me, so I am not going to touch you. Na tvam sprakshyami Maithili. Oh, Maithili, the daughter of the king of Mithila, na tvam sprakshyami. I'm not going to touch you. Because yatha akamam. Because you have no desire for me. Now, this is a pivotal verse because now from a storyline, Ravana is telling Sita, don't be afraid of me. I am not going to touch you because you don't have any desire for me. Is that what he really means? No. He is trying in sweet ways to get Sita Devi to accept his proposal. And she's already scared. Bhiru, he calls her in the previous verse. So if he speaks angrily or forces himself on her, she will resist a lot more. So at such times, she has to be allured with sweet speech. So he says, oh, no, I'm not going to touch you without your will. So he's trying to remove that fear. Fear actually puts a boundary, a wall between her and Ravana. And for the living entity, fear of being corrupted by the mind puts a wall. And so he says, yatha akamam, because you don't have a desire for me. So let's consider, where do desires come from? Now, the straightforward answer is desire comes from the mind. Okay, that is true. But according to Bhagavad Gita, what makes the mind even desire? And the answer is our sense of identity, our ego gives the mind the power and the activity to desire. I think I am a man. I think I am a husband, a son, a friend, an employee, an employer, an American or Indian or whatever ideas. Those layers of identity spring or fuel my mind to have desires according to that identity. I can't think like a pig, although I may behave like one. I can't think like another person. I can't think like a woman. I can't think like some other human being. I can't think like a bird. I can't think like a worm. I cannot think like an animal. Because in this case, my ego, my ahankara tells me I am all these things. So I am, and you fill the blank with whatever identity one has. And according to that identity, in that circumstance, the desires are fueled. If I am angry, as I'm just going to say something just as a matter of example. Let's say the US economics or politics situation is something, and some policies irritate me. Then I at that point, I'm thinking as an American citizen and how the government's policies are bothering me. Tomorrow, something happens and someone hurts, let's say my religious sentiment, and immediately I'll think, oh, I am Hindu. It offends my dharma. My identity has morphed into a human, but with the facet of being Indian or Hindu or Hare Krishna. Another day, it can be something else. My identity as a man can be challenged. Let's say there is some ego clash, and I'm thinking like a man. Oh, I'm a husband. This is how it should be. So this we are familiar with the phrase bodily concept. The bodily concept of identity fuels the mind to desire. And the mind then fills us with all these desires that empowers and fuels the senses to go and fulfill those desires. But he calls Sita Devi here akamam. Akamam means you don't have a desire for me. That's the external meaning. But the real or the tattva meaning is akamam, akara, Vishnu. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, of all the alphabets or all the letters, I am akara, I am a. In Om, which is made of a, u, and ma, akara is representing Lord Vishnu. So yatha akamam means you have a desire for Vishnu, and therefore na sprakshami, I cannot touch you, or I will not touch you. If one's identity is morphed into I am a servant of Sri Ramachandra, I am a servant of Lord Krishna, I'm a servant of Narayana, whatever form that inspires you, of the Supreme Lord, that is called akamam. And the mind cannot touch one. So this akama principle is very important. Each day, the practice that we get into is each day we question or we examine our ego, we examine our identity. And that identity is not just a conscious mind activity. Oh, I'm not this body. That's good. I can't just think it. I have to live it. And that is sitting in my subconscious. My identity sits in my subconscious. And that is called Cheta. And that Cheta has to be cleaned or reformed. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Because it's called Darpana because it reflects exactly what is there. So my subconscious identity, if I am not cleaning it as a servant of the Lord, then it doesn't matter consciously what I say and behave. When I am touched by circumstances, I'm triggered by circumstances, my subconscious will act according to my identity or ego at that time. So then Ravana says, Devi, na iha bhayam karyam, mai vishwasihi priye, pranayasva cha tatvena, maivam bhohu shikalalasa. Please don't be afraid. Believe in me. Pranayasva. Just offer yourself to me with good faith and become my beloved. Don't become absorbed in sorrow like this. You want Vishnu. I want you. And that is why I'm not able to touch you. But give up that idea. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this Sikshashtaka has given us na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Here Ravana is saying, kamaye, I desire you. And there Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I only desire you, Sri Krishna. So the word kamaye applies to all the na and the list of things, and also applies to what he appoints. Kamaye mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahaituki tvai. Ahaituki. No other material motivation to be your devotee. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us, the mind is the karanam, the reason for bandha mokshayoho. The mind is the reason for a person to become entrapped in matter, or the mind is the reason for becoming completely released. Released in the sense that the mind doesn't force the desires on the living entity. So he says, na sprakshami, I will not touch you. And then he tells her, Ekaveni dharashaya dhyanam malinambaram asthane apayupavachasha naitan yo paikaniche. You're not even braided your hair. There is just the hair and one knot behind. That's it. You're sleeping on a bed made of ground. Dharashayaha. Dhyanam. You're just meditating on Ramachandra. Malinambaram. Wearing dirty clothes. Full of dust. And these are all not useful to you at all. But actually, what you are eligible for, Sita, is Vichitrani, Cha Malyani. You should be wearing beautiful varieties of garlands. Chandanan, Anya Agurani Cha. You should be completely anointed with sandalwood and aguru and all the best, choicest fragrances. So this is the sense of touch and fragrance, smell. Vividhani cha vashamsi, you should be wearing all varieties of beautiful clothes. Divyanyabharanani cha, and all celestial jewelry you should be wearing. Maharhani na cha panani, you should be eating the best of food. So this is for the tongue. Panani, for all kinds of drinking, of varieties of beverages, all sweet, juicy beverages for you. Shayana Shananicha, Shayana Asananicha, and you should be sitting down and lying down in the best of beds. Geetam, Nrityam cha vadyam cha labhamam prapya maidhiri. Geetam, you should be listening to beautiful songs. Nrittam, you should be enjoying by dancing. Vadyam, by hearing beautiful instruments and relishing music and dance. So the subtle aspects. And labha, get all this by Maithili, Mam Prapya. Once you accept me, all of this will become yours. Sri Ratnamsi Maivam Bhuhu Kurugatreshu Bhushanam Mam Prapya Hi Kathamnu Swastya Manaharha Suvigrahe. Of all the women in the universe, Sri Ratna, you are the jewel among women. So don't be like this. Kurugatreshu Bhushanam. Maivam Kurugatre. Come and decorate my limbs. Means come and embrace me. One with an excellent body. Somehow, why are you rejecting all these luxuries? And then he says, Idam te charu samjatam. You are born in an exquisite way, with an exquisite body. Yavanam vyativartate. Your youth is completely alluring, captivating. But if you don't agree, your youth is going away. Vyativartate. You're losing your opportunity for enjoying. Yad atitam punar naiti shrotaha shigram apamiva. Apam iva, like water. When a river flows, it flows fast and it cannot come back. Similarly, age or time flows fast. You will never get this time again. Now is the time for enjoying. These are all the mind's allurements. When someone says, well, this is the time for bhakti. This is not the age for bhakti. You're young. Enjoy. Do this and do that and earn this. And when you're old, that is when it's time for bhakti. It's time for doing something. When your body is not working, your senses are not working, eyes are not working, ears are not working. At that time, you should hear Bhagavatam. You can't hear anything. But Yovanam Vyativartate. Come on, decide quickly. Your youth is passing away. And Prahlad Maharaj tells us exactly the opposite. Kaumaram acharet pragya. Dharman bhagavatan. That our youthhood is meant for grasping and cultivating bhakti. And Ravana, or the mind, is saying, that's not the time. Enjoy it. Oh, Sita with a very divine, auspicious presence and appearance. When Lord Brahma created you, he stopped and said, I have reached perfection. There is nobody I can create even more beautiful than you. So it's a common romantic phrase that, oh, after creating you, God stopped because he had reached perfection. There's no one he can create better than you. This dialogue in movies or dramas came from Ravana, or Ravana as described by Valmiki. But Ravana told Sita, you are the ultimate beauty. There cannot be anyone more beautiful than you. And you, given with so much beauty and youth, even Lord Brahma cannot disregard you, meaning his attention will go to you. You have such a beautiful face, like that of the full moon. Your hips are so well formed. In fact, Sita, whichever limb I see, my eye is captured by it, that I cannot move to any other limb of yours. When I look at your shoulder, my eyes cannot go to your neck or to your arms. When I'm looking at your face, my eyes cannot go to any other limb. They're so fully rejoicing in that particular limb of yours. My eye is getting tired. Chakshur mama nibadhyate. My eye is completely bound to that limb of yours. Oh, Maithili, become my wife. Bhava Maithili Bharya me. Become my wife. And leave all this ignorance, this idea that Ramachandra is who should come for you. Moham enam visarja. Just get rid of it. I'm there for you. In fact, I will make you the primary queen of all the queens that I have. Let all sorts of auspiciousness come to you by you accepting my proposal. Whatever I have stolen from anywhere in the universe, it's all for you. This kingdom belongs to you. What kingdom? I myself belong to you. Sarvani Rajyam. He says, Cha etad aham chate. Even I am your slave. Even I'm completely ready to become enslaved by you, Sita. You just have to say yes. So the mind says, I become your slave, but actually we become the slave of the mind. Come with me. Together, we will go and conquer cities. In fact, I will bring everything and give it to Janaka as an offering for you. I don't see anybody in this entire universe who's equal to me. Do you see my great power, Sita? In fact, the Suras, Asuras, everybody has been defeated by me because the mind is so powerful that it can even drag a demigod down. So desire me. Come on, Sita. I think you should get ornamented with all the basically saying you should live your life with full sense gratification. It's a message of hedonism. Hedonism is you only have one life, and this one life is meant for enjoying one's senses to whatever limit one can enjoy, because you only live once. Charvak Muni also said that. Rinam kritva ghritam pibe. Even if you have to fall into debt, that's okay. But enjoy foodstuffs made with ghee. Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya kim punaragata. Once anyway your body is going to get burnt and becomes ash, you're not going to come back. So you have one lifetime. Enjoy it to the fullest. And that's why he's called Charvak Muni. Charu Vakya. Very pleasing, alluring words. Anybody would like the message of hedonism. Hey, you don't have to worry about dharma, laws, do's, don'ts. On this day, you can't do that. On Ekadashi, you can't eat grains. On these appearance days of the acharyas and the Lord, you have to fast. What is all this nonsense? Have you ever seen anybody who's gone to heaven? Have you seen anybody who's gone to the spiritual world and said, oh, I am here? Have they come back and told you? Have you ever met anyone like this? What is this nonsense? Do you remember anything from your previous life? No. Is there a previous life? This is all made up by bearded Hindu sages sitting somewhere, and therefore it's called mythology. It doesn't exist. It's all very fertile imagination. So you just enjoy. This is the time to enjoy. And whatever you want, just fearlessly order to me. I will make it happen for you, Sita. Do you see how much wealth and fame I can bring to you? And I am already such person. In fact, by you accepting all this wealth and fame, you become auspicious. And he says, Mat prasadad lalantyaha tava bandhavastava buddhim mam anupashyatvam shreyam bhadre yashashchame. Mat prasadad. If you accept what I am offering, Sita, you can enjoy with all your relatives and friends and have a wonderful time. Do you see how much wealth and fame I can bring you? Instead of that, Kim karishyasi Ramena Subhage Chiravasasa. What is this? You're sitting in tattered clothes. What can that Rama do for you? He's somewhere. He can't reach you. You can't reach him. And what will Rama give you? He himself is living in a forest wearing tree bark and matted hair. You're living in the forest, observing austerities, sleeping on the floor. In fact, I don't even know if Rama is alive or not. What is that life? Is that life? This austere, eating fruit and berries. So partly, most of it is uncooked, lying on the floor, just wearing one piece of cloth, full austerity, taking bath in cold rivers, even in winters, and from morning till night, living like this. What can Rama do for you? Nothing. One may ask, what does your God do for you? Nahi vaidehi ramstvam drashtum vaplup lalasyate. In fact, Ramachandra cannot even see you. And he says, this is a very, very interesting phrase at the end of this shloka. This is shloka 27. Ghor jyotsnam eva avratam. Generally, we are all with the, this is Valmiki's great effort at trying to express to us. Generally, we say that in a dark room, if you light a matchstick or a candle, that candle will dissipate the darkness. However, in the shloka, he's saying, Ghora jyotsnam eva avratam, that darkness covers light. How can darkness cover light? It's the other way around. That darkness is dissipated by light. So here, the idea is that in a pitch dark room, the darkness is dissipated in proportion to the intensity of light. So if I light a matchstick, it dissipates the darkness to only the degree of intensity. But if I have a torch, it dissipates even more darkness. If I flip the light on, it dissipates the darkness completely. So the living being is alive, Sat, Chit, and Ananda, but is covered by ignorance or darkness. One may say, if I'm Sat, Chit, Ananda, how can there be any darkness? How can there be ignorance? Actually, that ignorance covers the Sat, Chit, Ananda feature. And therefore, the chapter started with Niranandam, Dinam. It's darkness that is actually covering this light, the living entity that is Ananda, Chit, and Sat. The darkness is that we have allowed for the darkness to come in. If we are not allowed, and even now, if the identity, the whole aspect of changing our identity, therefore, when we study Prabhupada's books, he hammers this idea again and again that I am not this body, I am a servant of Krishna. I am not this body, I am a servant of Krishna. That identity has to become one with who we are. Until then, ghora jyotsnam iva avratam. It's almost like darkness is covering the light. And he says, don't think that Ramachandra can take you away from me just the way uh, Hiranyakashipu got his wife back from Indra. Here, he's thinking of himself as Indra because Indra had abducted Hiranyakashipu's wife. From the Bhagavatam, we know the detail of it. He refers to Kayadu as Kirti. That's, I think, another name of hers. And Indra, when he came to know that Hiranyakashipu has gone away for austerity and that Kayadu was pregnant, Indra abducted her with the idea that he will kill her and he will kill the child in her womb because another Rakshasa like Hiranyakashipu will be too much for the universe. At that time, Narada Muni intervened and rescued Kayadu. Why? Because in her womb was an amazing, amazing entity, Prahlad Maharaj. So he's telling Sita, don't think Ramachandra can come and take you away from me. Now, Narada Muni intervened there to stop the killing of an Asura child. Why? Because that's a devotee. And it's the unfolding of the pastime. But Narada Muni does not intervene where, in this case, even if Sita could have been restored back to Ramachandra, even when Hanumanji is there, it does not, because the unfolding has to be that Ravana's atrocious, torturous, tyrannical presence has to be eliminated. He says, you've not been decorated, you're wearing tattered clothes. Seeing you like this, although I'm enjoying with so many wives, and they're all there, the hundreds of them, he says, I'm not in a happy state of mind. Tvam drashtva sveshu dareshu ratim nopalabhyamaham. Drashtva, seeing you, sveshu dareshu, even with my own wives, ratim, I'm not enjoying, I'm not getting the happiness that I should, because I'm constantly thinking about your horrible condition. In fact, Sita, come into my inner chambers, and with all these queens, you be the supreme most one. In fact, all these women that are there are all apsaras. And they are the best in the universe, and they will serve you like you are Lakshmi Devi. Shriyam Yatha, like you are, as if you are Shri Devi, and all of them will serve you. Not as if, fool, she is. But he doesn't understand that. Oh, Sita Devi with enchanting eyebrows, intoxicating hips, according to your comfort, whatever wealth you want, I have completely taken away everything from Kubera. I will bring them to you. In fact, Ramachandra is nothing in comparison to me. When you consider my tapasya shakti, na Ramas tapasa devi, na balena vikramaihi, na dhanena maya tulya stejasa yashasa piva. So he says, when I consider myself, I want you to think of something, Sita. Here I am, here is Ramachandra. No comparison at all. Okay, let's take tapasya. What tapasya Ramachandra is doing, and what tapasya have I performed? Oh, fantastic. Bala. Look at my strength. I was able to lift Kailash, a mountain, with my bare hands. I can do anything. What is Ramachandra's bala? After all, an ordinary human being. Vikramaihi, my ability to conquer. And what has Ramachandra conquered? Nothing. Living. In fact, his mother, who's a woman, said, "Go to the forest," and he said, "Yeah." He didn't even put up a fight. He didn't even object. That is not Vikrama. No Dhanena. He's only a prince, and right now he doesn't even have anything. But look at my wealth. And Tejasa. Look at my effulgence. And look at my fame. Yashasa. Api. Nothing in comparison to what can Ramachandra give you? None of these things. Then he says, "Oh Sita, Piba, drink whatever you want. Vihara, go here and there, like Krishna is called Yamuna Vihari. You can also enjoy strolling in whatever gardens and forests that are there. Ramasva, just enjoy as much. Bhunkshva, eat. Bhogan, all sorts of royal treatment. Dhanain Ucham Pradishami Medinim Cha. Whatever luxuries and is available in the world, I'm bringing it to you. In fact, not just you. You can enjoy with all your friends. In fact, what is the use of wealth if a person cannot enjoy with their friends? Can a person enjoy alone? Never. As soon as there is something, people want to have a party, they want to bring their friends and relatives and enjoy with them. Even Arjuna says to Krishna, when he's objecting the idea of fighting, he says, "Krishna, why should I fight when all my relatives here with whom I'm going to enjoy will be killed? What am I going to do with so much money alone?" So he's telling Sita, you don't have to be alone. Enjoy with all your relatives and friends. Your body will be decorated with gold, kanakam. Kanaka, Vimala Hara Bhushitangi. Vimala, pure garlands. Vimala Hara Bhushita Angi. Every limb of your body will be decorated with golden ornaments and pure fragrant garlands. Vihara Maya Saha. Enjoy with me. Bhiru Kananani. All the different gardens. Oh boy, what an enticement. In the next chapter, Sita is going to give him a befitting reply. For everything that he has said, there is a one-to-one match reply, because he says, right, what will Ramachandra do for you? What can he do? And look at comparison between me and him. And she's going to tell him, you're a fool, number one. So I'll stop here and see if there are any comments, questions, reflections. One way to study this chapter is to parallel it with chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very nice section, Prabhuji. Thank you for this class today. Just listening to it, I'm just expressing, must have been so tough for Mother Sita to not only the abduction, but also to tolerate Ravana's seeming taunting every day, where he would visit her and then speak all this nonsense. My question here is, you said Ravana was saying that it is his dharma and his nature, and he's trying to justify what he's doing. In the life of devotees or even otherwise, we see people following different levels of dharma or different compass, so to speak, which they feel is right. And there may be apparent clashes or differences in opinion or perspective. So how do we reconcile that and achieve
We
the
can't. We can't, because each person's ability to understand, for example, in this chapter, there is so much there, but my ability to extract anything from it is very limited, because to that degree of intelligence or identity, to that degree only I can. Similarly, in any situation, each person's ego is also acting. And so it's hard for everyone to be aligned. And dharma is such a big repository that anybody can pick anything that applies, and it seemed like it will apply. Therefore, when Draupadi was crying, Bhishma Deva said, I am at a complete loss. What is dharma in this case? And in 4th chapter, Krishna says, Kim kurvati, kim akurvati. Kavayo api atra mohitaha. Kavi means one who is very, very exalted in one's intelligence. Right? That's what we hear in the first verse of Bhagavatam. Tene hridaya adi kavaye. Adi kavaye means the original intelligent being, Lord Brahma. In his heart, the Supreme Lord spoke. But Krishna says, Kim kuroti, kim akurvati. What should one do and what should not be done? Kavayo api atra mohi. In this world, even the great kavis are bewildered. That's how complex the influence of ignorance is. It's a vast network. And the only person who can cut through all of that is one who has guidance of a guru. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna, that all this moha can be vanished. But until then, it is one conditioned soul entrapped in Maya, talking to another conditioned soul entrapped in Maya, with perhaps a matchstick, someone else with a candle, but is still within the realm of darkness. It's hard. Therefore, we take shelter of scripture. And even then, it's hard, because way I read scripture and way you'll pick up from scripture will be different. But that's the journey. At least we have scripture. Great.
Thank you, Prabhu.
When Ravana says to Sita Devi, Nas prakshami, I will not touch you, we know that all happiness, so-called happiness and distress, comes from the sense of touch, not the physical touch, but the mind touching the sense objects. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. And from that, Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkhadaha. Shita, cold. Ushna, heat. Sukha, Dukkha, Daha. So when the mind touches us, then and through the mind we touch the sense objects, we have a sense of joy or distress. But what if the mind is not used for touching the sense objects? And the mind cannot influence. Therefore, akamaha, one's desires, one's identity, more than desire first, identity needs to be fixed as a part and parcel servant of Sri Ramachandra. Jivera swarupa hoye Krishnera nitya das. That is most important. Okay, anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All Krishna, Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the wonderful class, and thank you for connecting Ramayana with Bhagavad Gita. It's really nice to have some nice connection in between. Really glad. So just here, just one, as we discussed in the class, that Ravana is enticing Mother Sita, and he will not touch her, so that she may have without fear. So I just kind of vaguely remember that in the past, Ravana also got one of the curses from, I think, Ramba or Ramba's husband, that when he will touch another woman without her permission, then he'll be dead at once. So maybe there is kind of also a trick which Ravana is like using as a shield here
Yes.
to entice her and also to cover or not to get into trouble. Then
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, and also second, that how one can connect loosely with this section of Ramayana with Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, because have just started reading chapter 6 now from Bhagavad Gita. So just needed some suggestions for you on this.
Okay, great. I mean, the mind says wonderful things to us. So enjoy reading Bhagavad Gita chapter 6.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Next.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisance, Prabhu.
Haribol.
Prabhu, I really liked the way you were relating each phrase or each sentence which Ravana was saying to how the mind entices us. And I could relate to what you were saying, that if you are not consciously reinforcing your spiritual identity, then during moments of challenge or false ego comes up. We just identify with that. Now, you made the statement, like you told like what Ravana said, that Sita, you're so beautiful, you're losing your opportunity for enjoying. And you added that later with the next statement where you said, like, it's like a river which flows and cannot come back. Now is the time to enjoy. For a good number of us who are in this call, we all are in our so-called middle age. And this is the time, especially in one's job, where one gets maximum bang for the buck, or the maximum returns one gets. When we were much younger, we had to put some effort. We could put some minimal effort and get away with it. And the gains that we would get by working extra, by like say putting extra effort, would not be that commensurate. It's just a modicum of gain that we would get, but now it's really huge gain that we would get by taking responsibility. So on one hand, is it that it is that there's so much more effort that needs to be put in the workplace to get much more gain, and if we don't put this effort, it's just like we'll be left off. There is no way that we can get back even into the workforce. And the other side is there's only so much time that is there in a day for spiritual pursuits. There's so much more to go deep in our spiritual lives. And we have enough Shastra, we have enough lectures, we have enough activities to do. And so there is this tension that, am I losing the time of my life for spiritual life, or should I hold on to it? So in light of this, what would be your advice be here?
It's about one's identity at one's workplace. Very important to check and reinstate oneself as a servant of the Lord. So whether one is on the workplace or a battlefield or at home or on the sporting ground, in school, in college, whatever, that should not change our identity. I guess the trap or the difficulty which by being conditioned we find ourselves is that our identity is as an employee or as a manager or middle-aged man or woman that needs to make the biggest bang for the buck. That identity is the root cause of what transpires, the sense of happiness or the elation or the dejection. The identity as a servant, that one executes one's work, one's study, one's duties, whatever it is, executes it as a servant of the Lord. That will make a very big difference. It disconnects or decouples the mind from the circumstances. Although the circumstances don't have to change, they don't have to feel different, but the mind relieves us of it. As long as the mind is there, the sparsha is there, the touch with what we perceive as happiness and distress is there. The recommendation is not to quit, because even if today one quit one's work, one will not be able to spend the time let's say studying scripture or absorbing oneself in devotional activities. It's hard. What is required is not the volume of, meaning if I work 8 hours, that I need to have 8 hours of bhakti activities. Material activities have lot of volume but not enough weight. They're like cotton. Spiritual activities are like iron. They have more density. So less volume, but they have great impact. So what's required is during the day, moments of contact with the Supreme. And here's a story that I heard secondhand from Sachinandan Maharaj. That apparently, I don't know the reference, but the story is wonderful. Janaka Maharaja was being taken to the spiritual world. And as he was going, he heard these loud cries of distress. So he asked, what is that? So they said it is the people in the hellish conditions and hellish planets that are being tortured and suffering. So he asked, can I see them? And he was taken there, and Yamaraj was there. And when he saw the people who were suffering, when they saw Janaka Maharaj, suddenly they forgot all their distress, their pain, their burning, their agony, because they saw Janaka Maharaj, this explicit, this effulgent personality. And he only saw them. And for those few moments, they forgot. So the point is not how many hours, but even a small moment of contact with transcendence can bring a great relief. So small doses during the day to reorient is very, very important for all of us. So it's not this or that, it's the identity. What's the core? Who is the person walking into the office? Who is the person walking into the school, or whatever the situation is? Who's that person? We ask ourselves, who is it? And we keep, during different times of the day, asking, who is the one that is reacting to this right now? And we'll get honest answers. Is the employee, the manager, the frustrated one who didn't get the promotion or whatever? And who am I? I am a servant. How can a servant look at the situation? And it decouples the mind. That's what I have to offer for you in this context of this chapter.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhu. I like that example of the cotton versus iron. Thank you.
Ten kilos of cotton is so much. 10 kilos of iron may not be that much. It's this much. But it has that much value. The density of it is stronger, higher. Okay, can we stop? I have work today, so I have to rush. But thank you. And we look forward to hearing Sita Devi's response next week. I don't think the next week will be Sita Devi's response. We'll first look at Sita Devi's act of placing a straw between her and Ravana. In fact, it'd be wonderful if Shamakun can walk us through it. He's certified straw commentator.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Sita Rama Lakshman Hanuman ji ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.